Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the fourth day of our fourth grade review of the 2017 STAR test, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Today we are looking at adding and subtracting both fractions and decimals. So this day 4 of our 12-day review is going to start with this simple problem. On Monday, Pete and Ted completed a total of 7/10 of their group project. Pete completed 3/10 of the project. And what fraction of the group project did Ted complete? So in the fourth grade, whenever we're adding or subtracting fractions, they're already going to make sure they have equal denominators or like denominators. In this case, we have 7/10, and then we've got 3/10. In the fifth grade is when you start getting into adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators and having to do some extra work before you can do that. But this is a fairly straightforward problem. So we have a visual that we can use, and I suggest we use it. Pete and Ted completed a total of 7/10. So I'm just going to go ahead and shade in these tenths. I've got 3, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my 7/10. And as you can tell, I've got 3/10 left. And I'm going to switch to red here because it says Pete completed 3/10 of the project. So I'm just going to go ahead and shade in a different angle here, these 3/10. So this is Pete. Pete did those first three, and the question is, what fraction of the group project did Ted complete? Well, it's pretty obvious that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So our answer is going to be this 4/10. And what we really did is we set up a simple problem here of 7/10 as your total minus the 3/10 that Pete completed is going to be the 4/10 that Ted completed. If you want to use the inverse operations, if you wanted to use fact families, you can say 4/10 plus 3/10 equals 7/10. And that's really the trick whenever we're adding and subtracting fractions. Is first off, the denominators have to be equal. So they are tenths all the way across, right? But then once we get the denominators equal, we don't add or subtract the denominators. We only deal with the numerators. So as we see here, 7 minus 3 is 4, or 4 plus 3 is 7. So that's what makes adding and subtracting fractions different, is once you get the denominators to be the same, you ignore them, and you only deal with the numerators here. So this is wrong for sevenths because that's not even the correct denominator. 7/10 is simply this number right up here, so you didn't do anything to it. That's not going to work. And then this 3/4 is, I see where this 3/4 is coming in. You've got this, the 3 as this numerator. You see the 4 as the other numerator coming back in. But that fraction doesn't make any sense. So our answer is going to be F, 4/10. Our next problem is another addition of fraction problem. We have Miss Owen ordered 2-foot-long sandwiches for her 3 children to share. The picture shows the 2 sandwiches cut in half. Each child ate half a sandwich. So we've got 3 children here. And we've got each child eating half a sandwich. So you've got half, you've got a half, and you've got a half. Now this is the tricky part here, is we're not eating this half because it says there are 3 kids, so I've got 3 chunks, each half, and that each child only eats half a sandwich. Really what I'm wanting to know is, what is 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2? Like we did on the previous problem, once we get all of our denominators to be the same, in this case they're all 2, we're going to ignore them and only deal with the numerators. So I've got 1 plus 1 plus 1, that's going to be 3, and our denominator stays the same as 2, which this is 3 halves, and that makes sense because I've got 3 kids, each takes a half, so our answer is going to be F. This is, G is just the correct answer, just flipped. Now look how tricky H is. If I'm not reading the problem here, I could easily pick up all 4 of these, and I can say, oh, I need to add all 4 of those and say it's 4 halves, but that's ignoring the fact that it says there's only 3 kids, and each kid eats exactly half. We have a half left over. Not sure where this 3/6 comes in from. Oh, I see where it is. You take your 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2, and your 3/6 is when you're adding all your numerators and then all your denominators. But that is not the way it is, because look at now, 3/6 is actually an equivalent fraction to 1/2. There's 1, that's 2, that's 3. That equals 3/6, which equals 1/2. How can you add half and half and half and come up with half? Doesn't make any sense right there. So our answer is going to be F, 3/2. And now we are going to look at our final problem for the day. We are adding decimals. And you think, oh, this might be easy. We've been adding decimals for a while now. This gets really tricky because this has to do with money, which is a great way to introduce decimals. Christine has a $10 bill to spend at the book fair. She buys one book for $4.95, 2 bookmarks for 65 cents each, and a keychain for this. How much change? Look at what we're having to do. We are needing to, there's 2 different ways to do this. I'll show you both ways. One way would be to take your $10 and we're just going to subtract each item separately. And the trick is they're just going to give you a 10. You have to know that you can put a decimal 0, 0. This is $10. And if you don't use the decimals, then your subtraction is going to get all messed up, because you see here that we have $4.95. And so we have to line up the decimals. That is the number 1 rule when we're adding and subtracting decimals. And they didn't give you a decimal for $10. All they did was give you a 10. So anytime you see a number without any decimal points and you need one, you can always put one after the ones place, and you can always put as many zeros afterwards as you need to. So we're going to take our 10, we're going to subtract 4.95. We need to regroup a lot of times. We need to get something for this 0 right here in the ones place. We have to go all the way over to, in the hundredths place, we need to go all the way over here to the tens place. So we've got, I'm going to take up my $10 bill, I'm going to break it up into 10 ones. Now I've got 10 ones. I'm going to break up those 10 ones. I'm going to leave 9, but I'm going to take that 10th one. I'm going to break it up into 10 tenths. Since we're dealing with money, it would be 10 dimes. I'm going to take those 10 dimes, leave 9 of them, take 1. I'm going to break it up into 10 pennies, or in this case, 10 hundredths. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 9 is 0. Always bring that decimal down. 9 minus 4 is 5. So once I buy this book, I've got $5.05 left. Now, I need to buy 2 bookmarks, and there's 65 cents each. So I'm going to need to subtract each of these separately. So the one method, I mentioned that you could do this 2 different ways. One method would be to subtract each individual item separately. You can't necessarily subtract everything at once. They each need to be separate. So we'll look at the other way in just a moment. So if I take 1 bookmark out, I've got $4.40 left. Let's take out my other bookmark. We can go ahead and put zeros here in the ones place. Let's see, I need to regroup there. I got 15. Lots of subtraction. So you can see how students could easily get this wrong. So much subtraction, so much regrouping. You get one thing wrong, everything gets all messed up. So even if you only did it one way, it'd be good to do it the other way, just to double check your work. This should be the end here. We're going to get this keychain for $1.85. I'm going to regroup one more time. That's going to be 90. So it looks like my answer is I've got $1.90. So I do see this as an answer choice here as D, but let me show you the other way to do it. If you don't want to subtract so many times, another way to do it, you can't subtract everything at once, but you can add everything at once. So let me take all the items I'm buying. $4.95. I'm going to have 65 cents twice. Put zeros there. And the $1.85. So let me just add all of that. See, how much am I actually spending? 5, 10, 15, 20. Let's see. I've got, make it 10. That's going to be 10. That's 19. 19, 25, 31. Bring down the decimal. And I got 3, 7, 8. So I am actually spending $8.10. I took all the items I'm buying, added it all up. Now, if I want to subtract, I can subtract that from 10. Once again, I need the decimal 00, and I could do it in just one chunk rather than subtracting 4 separate times. And so we see here, it's going to be 0. I'm still going to have to do a little bit of regrouping. I don't have to go nearly as far, though. So I'm just going over here to the 10th place. So that's going to be 9, and that's going to be 190. Same answer, so that lets me know I did it correct. And those are the two different options. Either subtract everything separately or add up everything as do one big subtraction. But either way, that's your answer, $1.90. So if you want to know a little bit more about what's coming up next, check out day 5 for our 12-day review of 4th grade math, and you can see it on the website aarondaffern.com.